For the last few years, the Golden State Warriors have lived and died by Steph Curry. Stop him and you stop the Warriors. Simple as that. But now, that's no longer the case. Because ever since Jimmy Butler landed in the Bay, the Warriors have become a completely different beast. And the numbers prove it. Steph is putting up 30.4 points on 64% true shooting since Butler arrived. And it's not because he suddenly got better. It's because, for the first time in years, defenses have another problem. Now teams can't just sell out to stop Steph, because Jimmy Buckets is right there, forcing a complete shift in how the Warriors operate. And the rest of the league, they have no clue how to stop it. So how dangerous are Steph and Jimmy together? And more importantly, is this the formula to another Warriors championship? Let's find out. For the first 50 games of the season, the Warriors' offense wasn't just struggling, it was suffocating. A system built around movement, spacing, and unselfish play had been reduced to one inevitable conclusion: give the ball to Steph and hope for the best. Night after night, he was asked to solve unsolvable equations. No Klay Thompson of old, no Kevin Durant, not even the erratic but explosive Jordan Poole from 2022. Just Steph, shouldering an offensive burden unlike anyone else in the league. And defenses treated him accordingly. The game plan? Simple. Trap him on every pick and roll. Face guard him the second he stepped on the floor. Send doubles the moment he crossed half court. And force anyone else on the Warriors to make a play. No other superstar is defended this way. Luka and Kyrie face pressure, but not to this extent. SGA, Tatum, and LeBron have far more breathing room. Steph, on the other hand, plays in a straitjacket. By midseason, he led the NBA in double-team rate, and the numbers showed the toll it took. His 22.7 points per game on 16.8 shots marked his lowest scoring output since his early years. His efficiency dipped, and only 12.6% of his attempts came at the rim, a steep drop from the 25% he once thrived on in his prime. And while his three-point shooting remains elite, the rest of the NBA has evolved. Everyone shoots threes now. Variance is unavoidable. When Steph struggles, there's no safety net. That's why Golden State's offense was stuck in the mud, ranked in the bottom half of the league, barely hovering around .500, fighting just to make the play-in. A team that once prided itself on overwhelming opponents with depth and versatility had become reliant on one man's brilliance. But here's the truth. If you're trying to contend, that's not sustainable. You don't just need a capable second option, you need a game changer. And the moment Jimmy Butler arrived, everything changed. When the Warriors pulled off a blockbuster trade for Jimmy Butler at the deadline, there were concerns about his fit. His methodical, ISO-heavy style seemed at odds with Golden State's motion offense, and his intense personality added another strong presence alongside Draymond Green. Many doubted whether this move would actually move the needle. Those concerns didn't last long. Since Butler's arrival, the Warriors have been on an absolute tear, winning 11 of their last 12 games. The record alone speaks volumes, but the numbers paint an even clearer picture. Butler hasn't just helped the Warriors turn things around, he has completely changed their trajectory. Before the trade, Golden State was struggling in key areas. From the start of the season to the February 6th deadline, they ranked 10th in defensive rating with 112.2, 18th in offensive rating with 111.8, 16th in net rating at -0.4, 26th in field goal percentage at 44.4%, 14th in three-point percentage at 36.2%, and dead last in free throw percentage at 72%. Post-trade, they have transformed into a completely different team. They now rank 4th in defensive rating with 108.5, 5th in offensive rating with 121.0, 3rd in net rating at +12.0, 18th in field goal percentage at 46.5%, 15th in three-point percentage at 34.8%, and from worst to first in free throw shooting, now leading the entire league at 85.6%. Butler's individual stats don't jump off the page. He's averaging 17.8 points, 5.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and 1.1 steals in 31 minutes per game. A solid but unspectacular line. The true impact shows up in the advanced metrics. Butler is producing 0.21 win shares per 48 minutes in Golden State, a mark that places him among the most valuable players in the league. The only others surpassing that threshold while using at least 20% of their team's possessions are MVP frontrunners Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, along with Anthony Davis and Cleveland's secret weapon, Ty Jerome. The Warriors have outscored opponents by 13 points per 100 possessions with Butler on the floor, according to Cleaning the Glass. Since the trade, they've posted a staggering plus 14.5 net rating, second best in the league over that span. The numbers don't lie. Golden State has been a top 5 team on both ends since Butler arrived, looking every bit like a team that finally found what it was missing. One of Butler's biggest impacts? He has completely freed up Steph Curry. Before Butler, Steph was averaging 22.7 points, 6.1 assists, and shooting 38.9% from 3 in 42 games. Since the trade, he's up to 30.4 points, 6.4 assists, 4.3 rebounds, and draining 42.2% from deep. That's not just an improvement, it's a full-blown revival. Butler's willingness to facilitate while still being a legitimate scoring threat has eased the defensive pressure on Steph, giving him the space he hasn't had all season. This is where Butler's value goes beyond the box score. A 6'7" two-way workhorse, he can post up, get to his mid-range spots, attack the rim, and take on the toughest defensive assignments. But more importantly, he's forcing teams to pick their poison. Before the trade, defenses threw elite 3 and D wings at Curry, like OG Anunoby, Lou Dort, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dylan Brooks, sometimes even doubling him outright. With Butler in the mix, that strategy falls apart. Opponents now have to decide who gets the top defender. For the first time all season, Steph is seeing point guards guard him again. Instead of being blanketed by bigger, more physical wings, he's facing matchups that let him cook. Stick a point guard on Butler, and it's over. He'll bully them in the mid-post, get to the line, or create for others. Put a wing on him, and suddenly Steph gets clean looks he wasn't getting before. Every pick-and-roll coverage has shifted. Before, teams blitzed Steph, forcing predictable kickouts to Buddy Hield, Brandon Podziemski, and Moses Moody. Now, they can't just send 2 at him without leaving Butler open to punish them. His ability to operate as a secondary scorer has transformed how defenses have to approach Golden State. Jimmy Butler is the ultimate defensive gravity magnet, without even trying to be. He's not a high-volume three-point shooter or a flashy scorer, but he warps defenses in ways most players can't. His presence has introduced mid-post actions, ghost screens, and off-ball cuts that were missing from Golden State's offense. He's the perfect complement to Steph, a veteran playmaker who doesn't need the ball to make an impact, yet commands enough respect to force defenses into impossible decisions. The result? More space, better matchups, and a version of Steph Curry that looks as dangerous as ever. For the first time all year, Golden State isn't just surviving, they're thriving. So far, it's working. The Warriors have gone from play-in territory to a 35-28 record, holding on to the 6th seed, the final guaranteed playoff spot in the West. But the scary part is what it's doing for Steph. Before Butler arrived, Curry was running on fumes, averaging 23 points on 56.7% true shooting over his previous 20 games. Double-teamed, triple-teamed, worn down by defenses throwing everything at him. But since the trade, he's up to 30.4 points on an absurd 68.8% true shooting. The man is dunking again, for goodness sake. This shift is no coincidence. Steph's double-team rate has dropped by 38%. His shot quality is the best it's been in years. The Warriors' offense went from 23rd in the league to top 5. Butler's impact is everywhere. When tallying up the points he scores, the ones he creates with assists, and the ones he generates with his screening, he's responsible for 41.1 points per 36 minutes, more than any Warrior except Curry with 45.6. The numbers across the board tell the story. More free throws, more offensive rebounds, fewer turnovers, more turnovers forced. This isn't just a team improving. This is a team that has completely reinvented itself. At this point, the evidence is clear. This is no hot streak. This is a system. Just over a month ago, it looked like the Warriors were done. They couldn't even pull off the trades they wanted, and their season seemed destined for disappointment. But here we are. Everything is different now. And by different, I mean really different. The Warriors suddenly have a team capable of making a deep playoff run. Their 11-1 surge since the trade deadline has provided real answers. The energy is back, the chemistry is clicking, and the results speak for themselves. A big reason for the Warriors' turnaround is their new go-to lineup, with Draymond Green at center, Butler, Podziemski, and Moses Moody on the wing, and Curry running the point. they've been dominant on both offense and defense. They score efficiently with a 114.7 offensive rating and lock teams down with a 100.8 defensive rating, resulting in a plus 14 net rating, one of the best in the league, ranking in the top 4% of all five-man lineups, according to Cleaning the Glass. Curry, the heart of the team, has benefited the most. Through the first 50 games, he was battling constant double teams and suffocating defensive pressure. But with Butler on the floor, that burden has eased. He's got his energy back, attacking switches and isolations with renewed confidence. The spacing has improved, reducing the number of defenders who can help off, and giving Steph and Draymond the freedom to run their two-man game. With three legitimate scoring threats surrounding them, defenses are forced to stay honest, allowing a true 2 versus 2 to unfold. Butler's arrival has also unlocked one of Golden State's deadliest actions. The split cut, already a staple of the Warriors' offense, has become even more lethal with Steph and Jimmy running it. Butler's ability to use Curry's gravity has led to easy drives into the paint, while his own penetration creates wide-open looks for teammates. He brings the rim pressure the Warriors were lacking, a key ingredient in keeping the offense flowing. Beyond that, he's given them something they've desperately needed for years, a real answer for non-Curry minutes. Before the trade, the Warriors were getting outscored by 2.9 points per 100 possessions when Steph was off the floor. Since Butler's arrival, they're now winning those minutes by 1.7 points per 100. And when Butler's on the floor without Steph, that number jumps to plus 14.2 per 100. But no one has been more revitalized by Butler's arrival than Draymond Green. He's thriving again, running the two-man game with Steph, making plays when defenses collapse, and even knocking down open threes in transition. He looks like the Draymond Green again. So with Curry, Butler, and Draymond in sync, the rest of the team has followed suit. And so far, this looks like the exact formula to break the Western Conference wide open. Overall, this Warriors team is playing at a high level, even with some flaws. The difference now is that they have ways to manage those weaknesses. There's still a lot of basketball left, but they may have found a lineup that can push them up the Western Conference standings and make them a nightmare matchup for any opponent. Right now, they sit as the 6th seed, just 3.5 games behind the Grizzlies for a top 4 spot. Upcoming matchups against the Lakers, Knicks, Grizzlies, and 2 games against the Nuggets will be a real test of how strong this team is and how much better they can get. And the scary part, Jimmy Butler hasn't even hit peak form yet. Even so, the early results have been outstanding. If Butler and Curry keep up their high-level play, the Warriors could become a real championship threat in the West. Playoff Jimmy in a Warriors uniform is something we haven't seen yet. Add a rejuvenated Steph Curry, now dealing with less defensive pressure than he has in years, and Golden State suddenly looks dangerous again. If they peak at the right time, another deep playoff run could be on the horizon. And if the rest of the league isn't paying attention yet, they're about to get blindsided. Let me know what you think. Can Steph and Jimmy lead the Warriors all the way? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe for more NBA breakdowns.